Hi, boys and girls. We are on to chapters 15 and 16 today. I hope you've been enjoying the book, and I hope you had some good research into Stephen Hawking, who is a genius. Although limited with his mobility, he was able to think just like Melody and do some amazing work. He's a renowned scientist and speaker, and um, made some amazing improvements in thoughts. Again, I hope you enjoy so far chapters 1 through 14. Today, we're going to tackle chapters 15 and 16. The next morning, we get to the first snowfall of the season. Big, flat flakes fall outside the windows of room H5. Freddie zooms over and touches the window. Nice, he says. Mrs. Shannon rolls all of us over closer so we can watch the snow accumulate on the grass and the trees. It's really pretty. Even Jill seems to relax. We gonna play in the snow? Asked Maria. No, Maria, it's too cold to play outside. But guess what? It's getting close to Christmas. Maria cheers. I've heard it's some sort of tradition round here to decorate this old styrofoam snowman. Mrs. Shannon continues. She makes a face and she pulls Sydney's head out of the box. Maria starts to hung it, but Mrs. Shannon stops her and says, I believe in the smell of fresh pine trees at holiday time and real candy canes and popcorn garland. Tomorrow, I'm bringing in a real tree and we're going to make it beautiful. Freddie and Carl slap palms, and Maria looks disappointed for a moment. But she seems to forget about the snowman as Mrs. Shannon gives everyone a soft piece of chocolate candy. She wisely stuffs Sydney back into the box. While Mrs. Shannon shows the rest of the class how to make paper snowflakes, Catherine and I sit together in front of one clunky classroom computer and do web searches on communication devices. It's so slow. Sometimes it gets jammed up and stalls, and we have to reboot it and it starts all over. Room H5 always gets the big old leftover computers that the other classrooms no longer want. Catherine and I research all kinds of electronic talking and communication devices that have been designed for people like me. Lots of them seem as clunky and awkward as our room computer. Some look really complicated. All of them are expensive, crazy expensive. Some of the websites don't even list the prices, like they're afraid to specify how much the things cost. The device that uses the standard computer keyboards wouldn't work. I have no way of hitting the individual keys. I need something that would work with just my thumbs. We find adapted computers, talking boards, and speak the words, push button systems, and even devices that would work with blinks and head nods. Finally, we find something called the Medi Talker that looks like a possibility. It has spaces big enough for my thumbs to get into and millions of words and phrases built into it. I watch an online video of a boy about my age using one, and even though he clearly has no voice of his own, this little box lets him tell all the details of his recent birthday party. I got so excited that my legs started kicking and my arms started flailing, and I look like some kind of crazy human helicopter. Catherine prints out the information and tucks it into my book bag that is attached to the back of my chair. Good luck, Melody, she whispers as she leaves for the day. When I get off the bus after school, Mrs. V is waiting for me as usual. I almost twist out of my seat, trying to point to my bag to let her know that I have something important in it. Hold your horses, Mrs. V says. Since when are you excited to do homework? What's gotten into you, Tizzy, today? I just grin and kick after my snack of caramel candy first and tuna melt last. And after Penny, who has gotten up from her nap, eats her applesauce, Miss V finally pulls the paper out of my bag. Well, that is exactly what you need," Mrs. V said, slapping the printouts on the table after reading them. "No wonder you're all fired up." "Yes, yes, yes," I point. Then I point to the individual words: "Talk to mom and dad. Talk, talk, talk." "I'll do just that, just as soon as they get home from work, Melody," Mrs. V promises. I can hardly wait. While Penny watches the Cookie Monster gobble carrots instead of cookies on Sesame Street, I dream of talking, talking, talking. When mom picks us up, Mrs. V's true to her word not only shows mom the printouts, but even has her computer already set to the web pages where the Medi Talker is advertised and sold. Penny sits on mom's lap and keeps pushing computer keys, messing up the display, which is getting on my nerves. But mom watches the video and shows people actually talking and cracking jokes and even going to college by using this machine. Mrs. V explains to mom how this is exactly right for me. And mom, instead of being practical and sensible and thrifty like she usually is, seems to agree. "Looks like insurance will cover about half the cost," she muses as she investigates and navigates the website. "Let me talk to Chuck. This is long overdue." "Tonight?" I asked on my board. "Yep, tonight," mom says, giving me a squeeze. But nothing happens right away in my world. Mom fills out the online application for the machine the next day and sends it out. I wait. Then we have to ask my doctor to fax in a prescription. I've heard of prescriptions for antibiotics, but for machines? That seems crazy. Who'd ever want this machine unless they needed it? I wait. Next, we have to get approval from our insurance company. More paperwork and phone calls, more questions and answers. I wait. A parental financial statement has to be turned in. You gotta be kidding. Why do they make it so complicated? I wait. The medical form is missing one signature and has to be resubmitted. I wait. One last approval from the school official has to be turned in, and guess what? I wait. I realize I've been waiting for this thing all my life. Finally, 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 on the Wednesday before Christmas, the Medi Talker arrives. I need no other gift. When I get home from school, Mrs. V tells me that she hurried to my house when she saw the UPS truck pulling in our driveway. She signed for the package and brought it over to my house for safekeeping. The huge brown box sits there, taped and secured, and it's addressed to me. I wiggle and squeal and insist we open it right away. I can feel one of my tornadoes coming on. "Spastic City, here I come." "Calm down, mellow yellow," Mrs. V says, placing a hand on my shoulder, but I can't relax. "Open, open, open," I tap. "Well, your mom knew you'd be impatient," Mrs. V says. "So when I called her to say it arrived, she told me it was okay for us to open it." I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack at watching Mrs. V carefully open the edges of the box. She lets me put all the brown paper inside. Then, under about a million bubble wrap, there it is, the Medi Talker. Smaller than I expected. It's only the size of my wheelchair tray, but it's sleek and shiny and cool to the touch. It's like a butterfly ready to unfold its wings. Boy, oh boy, I can't wait to try it. Mrs. V plugs it into the wall outlet to charge the battery, then pulls out a huge booklet of directions. "Whew," she says. "This will take about a year to read and understand." She flops down in a soft, easy chair with Penny on her lap and begins to read. And I begin to wait and wait and wait. Finally, when I just know I'm going to explode, I wheel over to the table where the Medi Talker sits. I've seen kids at school play video games they've never seen before, and I've seen have them program their phones and computers without touching a book of instructions. So I take my right thumb and push the on button. The board whirs and glows, and then a welcome message appears on the screen. I push another button, and a voice that sounds like an Englishman with a really bad head cold blurts out, "Welcome to Meditalker." Mrs. V jumps up off the couch. I shriek with joy. "It looks like you're on your way ahead. You're way ahead of me, Melody." Now that I'm surprised. Not that I'm surprised. She sets Penny down. "Now, let's see what this machine can do." I feel like Christopher Columbus bumping into America. It has been there all the time. But here, we're the first one. I'm sorry. But he was the first one from his world to find it. I wonder if his heart had beat as fast as mine is. We quickly discover that Meditalker has more than a dozen levels, all easily reached with one button. So on level 1, we program in the names of everyone I know. My name, all the members of my family, kids, teachers at school, my doctors, neighbors, my parents, friends, and of course, Mrs. V. On the second level, she insists we add all the vocabulary words we've been collecting in our multicolored 3 by 5-inch flashcards. Type, save, type, save. Mrs. V's fingers fly as she keeps adding words for me. Lots of vocabulary words are already in the machine's memory, but she gives me more, and more. Nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, thousands of them, as well as cool sentence makers that is located on another level. We can prepare hundreds of phrases and sentences and get to them with just a touch. Have you heard their latest song? That's what's up. How did you do on the spelling test? Ordinary words, normal conversations. I've never had that. Awesome. Another level is for numbers and even computations. I'll be able to do math now. Maybe I won't tell the teachers about that one. And that's the level full of corny jokes and silly sayings, with room left over for us to add more. Another level plays music. I can connect the device to a computer and download any song I want. I can't wait to search iTunes. Maybe I can ask Rose which songs are hot. Rose, I can actually talk to Rose now. We stopped programming for a while. Penny needs to be changed and kept occupied. But I'm much too excited to rest. So after Mrs. V gets Penny set up in the dollhouse, after that foot, or what does this say? At the foot of the couch, we add even more words and phrases. Finally, she stops typing and says, "Would you like to try it out?" The room is absolutely quiet. I stroke the edge of the machine softly, and then I push 2 buttons. "Thanks, Mrs. V." The computer voice says. She blinks really fast. I do too. She reaches for a tissue because we both need it. Mrs. Vick tucks the tissue into her pocket. Then she begins to read again from the instruction manual. "Hey, listen to this," she says. "With the connector cord, you can also save longer things you want to write, like stories or poems, onto this computer." "Wow," the machine says. Mrs. V nods in agreement. "This is going to be fun, but you're going to need a lot of practice to make it say what you want, kid." She's right. Many levels have been left blank for users to input their own information. Words, sentences, phone numbers, even pictures. Information can be typed directly into the machine, or it can be downloaded from a computer. It's a little overwhelming. "We can design this to fit you, Melody," Mrs. V tells me. "This will be your world. So let's take our first time and make it exactly what you need." I'm so happy. I almost feel like hugging the machine, but that would look silly. Instead, I name it. This that's probably pretty dumb, but sometimes it's good to have something that nobody else knows but you. I'm not going to type the name into the machine. because it's personal. But in my mind, I'm going to call it Elvira, after the song I like. Yep, my heart's on fire for Elvira. While Mrs. V plays with Penny for a while, I continue to explore what Elvira can do. One of the first changes I want to make is the hello message and the voice that speaks it. The computer produced greeting sounds really fake, but that machine offers several female voices to choose from, as well as a bunch of different languages. I pick a voice called Trish. She actually sounds like a girl, not a grown up. I wouldn't mind sounding like her if I could talk. Bienvenue, Trish says in French. I know that means welcome. I push the button for German and she says, Willkommen. I even find something that sounds like Oingang, and I touch the button for Chinese. I stop for a minute and stare at the board. It has never occurred to me that there are kids like me in Germany and China and France who need a machine to help them talk. Mrs. V returns to me and helps me change the original welcome message from the very mechanical sounding, Welcome to MediTalker, to Trish's voice saying, Hi, I'm Melody. Talk to me. I can't wait to take it to school and introduce my new computer to everybody there. I wonder what Rose will say. By now, both mom and dad have called to check on how we're doing, how much progress we've made. They're both anxious to get here and see the device for themselves. So while we wait, Mrs. V suggests we keep programming it, adding more and more. She thinks I should practice it for a couple of weeks before taking it to school. I don't really want to wait, but I have to agree with her that this is going to take some time. I want to be able to use the system to talk like ordinary kids, sort of. So we return to words. I want to input thousands of them. Notebook, marker, homework, assignment, test, positive, negative, fingernail, nail polish, outfit, backpack, purse, scared, excited, purple. Then we type more phrases, hundreds of them, to the mail from a distance. In the middle of, as a result, the reason why. Lastly, we get to some sentences, dozens of them. What time is it? What's up with that? You crack me up. I'm so excited. Before the doorbell rings. When dad and mom come to pick us up, dad is ready with a camcorder. His hands are shaking a little. Show us how it works, honey, he says. I can't believe dad's making a video of me saying my first words. It's almost like when he filmed Penny's first words. Well, not really. I type very carefully and push the button to make the machine talk. Hi, Dad. Hi, Mom. I'm so happy. Mom gets all teary-eyed and her nose gets red. She is looking at me with a soft and gooey. When I think about it, I realize I have never, ever said any of those words directly to my parents. So I push a couple of more buttons and the machine speaks the words I've never been able to say. I love you. Mom completely loses it. She bubbles up with tears and grabs Dad. I think he might have sniffed back a couple of tears himself, but he recorded it all. Chapter 16. I wait until after holiday break to take the machine into school. I have practiced with Mrs. V every single day of Christmas vacation, learning how to push the right buttons and how to switch smoothly from one level to another, how to make contractions. And I had to figure out how to say isn't instead of is not. And there's instead of there is. It was hard. I keep messing up, but Mrs. V wouldn't let me quit. I didn't want to. So on the first Monday back, Elvira is the star of the day, making me the center of attention. And not because of something embarrassing I did, like throwing up or spilling my food, but for something really cool instead. Unbelievable. Even the teachers seemed impressed. Watch out, world, Miss Shannon announces when she meets me in the hallway. Melody is ready to rock, y'all. I grin and push a button, and a song from the latest teen musical begins to play. Girl, you really got it going on. Music and everything. Mrs. Shannon starts sashaying down the hall in rhythm to my music, and I crack up. In room H5, Maria is glued to me all morning. Cool beans, Melly Belly, she keeps repeating. Cool beans, can I play? She wants to touch the glowing lights and shining buttons, but Mrs. Shannon steps in and distracts her with a new computer game she loaded on the classroom machine. When Catherine comes in just before the bell for language arts class, I'm ready for her. She's wearing a green plaid shirt and blue skirt and orange knee socks. I planned the first thing I wanted to say to her, so Mrs. V and I programmed it in ahead of time. I push the button and smile. Let's go shopping. Catherine gasps, then laughs so hard she almost can't catch her breath. Then she runs over to me and hugs me. I'm so happy for you, Melody. You really needed this. And yes, we're gonna have to find a day to teach me some more fashion sense. We need hurry. I type in. I am in a great mood. You're a cold hearted woman, Catherine declares, still laughing. But for now, let's get you to the inclusion class and show off this cool new machine. I shiver with excitement. When I roll into Miss Gordon's room, as usual, nobody looks up except for Rose, who flashes me a smile. But then I turn the volume up real loud and I push the button. Hi, everybody. I have a new computer. Heads turn and voices whisper. They make computers for special eddies? It talks? Mine doesn't do that. You don't need yours to talk. Sounds weird. So do you. What does she possibly have to say anyway? But Connor jumps up, his shaggy blonde hair flopping in his eyes, and says loudly, That's awesome, Melody. And because he's one of the popular kids, and probably the biggest and tallest kid in fifth grade, I think because he gives his okay, the rest of the students decide to leave it alone. Well, most of them. Claire, who was the first in the class to get her own laptop and who makes sure everybody knows it when she gets a new iPhone or a Wii game, sniffs and says, and that sure is a funny looking computer. But I guess it's perfect for a kid like you. She and Molly exchange looks. I swear they think I'm blind. Miss Gordon, who looks like she wants to squeeze Claire like an empty toothpaste tube, tells her, Claire, I don't allow rudeness in my class. Now sit down and hush. But even Claire can't dim my good mood. I push another button for a sentence. Mrs. V and I prepared ahead of time. Somehow I knew I would need it. The machine says, I talk to everybody now. Claire, too. I see her scowl, but everyone else laughs. They all want to touch the machine or push a button or try to operate it, but Catherine keeps them away and lets me do the demonstrating. I go to the green level, the jokes. Knock, knock. Who's there? Several people reply together. Isabel, the Medi talker says. Isabel who? The kids surrounding me reply. Isabel out of order. I had to knock. Everybody laughs and silly joke with me, even though my arms and legs flail and I drool as I laugh. It is the first time in my entire life that I feel like I'm a part of the group. I wish I could click the save button so I could play this moment over and over again. I type in, today is Monday, it is cold, then push a blue button on my machine. It whirs and little, then, like a tongue sticking out, a thin sheet of paper erupts from the side. Printed out are the words I just typed. Whoa, says Rodney, champion video game player in the class. It's got a printer? That's too slick. Mrs. Gordon nods with excitement, and Catherine passes the printout around so everybody can read my words. Then Catherine tells the class, Melody's MediTalker is a combination of a computer, music player, and speech device. It's got HD, high-tech guts, and designed to rock her world and connect you to it. Take the time to listen to what she has to say. Claire raises her hand. Yes, Claire, Mrs. Gordon says with a look of warning in her eyes. I'm not trying to be mean. Honest. but it just never occurred to me that Melody had thoughts in her head. A couple of other kids nod slightly. Miss Gordon doesn't raise her voice. Instead, she responds thoughtfully. You've always been able to say whatever came to your mind, Claire. All of you. But Melody has been forced to be silent. She probably has mountains of stuff to say. Yes, 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 I make the machine say. I give Miss Gordon a smile of thanks. And then I show Rodney and Connor a video game that came with the MediTalker. I doubt if I ever will be fast enough to play Space Soldiers, but it's nice to know it's there. Rodney could probably master it in a hot minute. Miss Gordon checks out the various levels and looks impressed. What a huge vocabulary you have now, Melody, she says to me. I know you feel like a ton of bricks have been lifted off you. I nod. Way cold, the machine says loudly. Oops, I meant way cool. I feel my face getting warm as I hear Claire and Molly snicker. But Rose pulls her desk close to mine. This is so awesome, Melody, she says softly. I let her touch the shimmering keys. Oh, yes, I reply. Then I look at her. Friends? I type. Friends, she answers without hesitation. Happy. I type. I tense. I hope I won't do anything stupid like knock something over with excitement. Rose is looking intently at me. I can't imagine what it must be like to have all my words stuck inside, she finally says. It sucks, I type in. Rose chuckles. I feel you. I hope you enjoyed those two chapters. Now we're starting to see how Melody's classmates are experiencing her voice for once. We've been hearing everything inside of Melody's head in just few words here and there. But now we're starting to see how Melody can speak to her students in the class and her teachers and her friends. And we're going to notice that it's in bold, and what's in her mind is not. So if you take a look here, it says, oh, yes, she says that out loud. But down here, friends, she says in her head. So we're going to start to see that inner monologue still. And then we're also going to get to see the experience of the kids around her hearing her voice for the first time. Again, I hope you all enjoyed the two chapters. And I'd like to hear your feedback about the introduction of Elvira and what you're thinking about it. Hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you soon.